Hello, so this is week 28 and Tuesday. So our number of the day is 49. And let's go through and find out how many tens do we have in the number 49. We have 4 tens. How many ones do we have in the number 49? We have 9 ones. So to determine if this is odd or even, we're going to circle them in pairs. 1 pair, 2 pair, 3, 4. Is this number odd or even? Because this last one does not have a pair, it is odd. So the number 49 is odd. So using the number 49, we're going to move on into our hundreds, tens, and ones. How many hundreds are in the number 49? We have 0, so we're just going to put an X. And how many tens are in 49? We said 4 tens. How many ones are in the number 49? 9 ones. Now using 49, we're going to write it in expanded form. So looking at our chart, how many tens do we have? We have 4 tens. Let's count by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40. 4 tens is the same as 40. So we have 40 plus, how many ones did we have? 9 ones. So we have 40 plus 9. What is 40 plus 9? 49. So we just separated tens and into ones. Now we're going to get our 10 plus 10 minus 10 plus 1 minus 1. If you need your chart, get a chart where you can check. And I'm going to circle the number 49. And then I could see the numbers around it that I'm going to be focusing on. So 49. How many tens do we have 49? We said we have 4 tens. We're going to take 1 10 away minus a 10. How many tens do we have left? 3 tens. And the ones stay the same because we're only dealing with the tens, the 10 spot. We have 49. How many tens do we have? 4 tens. We're going to add 1 more 10. So we're going to have 5 tens. So 49 plus 10 more is 59. Now we're at 49 minus 1. So we had 9 ones. So we're focusing on the ones, so the tens are going to stay the same this time. And we have 9 ones. So almost all your fingers. You're going to take 1 away, and you're going to have 8. 49 minus 1 is 40. 49 minus 1 is 48. Now, on the next one, we have 49 plus 1. So if you add a 1 to 9, you're going to get 10. So what happens is you get another group of 10. So we had 4 tens, we had 9, we made another group of 10 when we make that 9. So if I have my 9 fingers, I'm adding another 1, so now I have 10. So now I'm actually going to add another 10 to the 4 to make it a 5 now, because I have a 5, 10, and I will have no ones. So I'm at 50. You can also do 49 plus 1, you're counting on 49. The next number would be 50. Moving on to missing numbers, see if you can do these quickly, and then I will fill in the answer. So 0 plus blank equals 10. The answer is 0 plus 10 equals 10. The next one. And the answer would be 9 plus 1 equals 10. And then the last one, 2 plus blank equals 10. And the answer is 2 plus 8 equals 10. Moving on to balance both sides. So with balancing both sides, we want to make sure that they are equal. That's true, that they're equal on both sides and not a false equation. So 0 plus 6 equals 6. what is another equation that you could write to make 6? I'm going to do the reversal, but if you had done something else, that is okay, as long as it equals 6. So I'm going to do 6 plus 0, and that equals 6. All you're doing is switching their spots. Moving on to fact family. So we're working on those teen numbers, breaking them into tens and ones. So we have the whole number, part, part. We take the two parts, put them together to make the whole. So when we do the part, we're adding those together. So 10 plus 7 equals 17. And then our another one, we're just going to reverse these two. So what are we going to write? 7 plus 10 equals 17. Now when we do our fact family, we do the subtraction. We always start with the whole number or the bigger number first. So out of those three numbers, the biggest number is the 17. So we're going to do 17 minus one of the parts. I'm going to start with the 10. 17 minus 10 equals 7. And then once again, we always start with the whole number, the bigger number. 17 minus, I'm going to do the 7 this time, equals 10. Then moving on to whole, part, we're breaking this into a group of 10 and the ones left over. So 16 will break into one group of 10, and then what will be left over? 6 ones. So we're going to, for the adding, we always add the parts to get to the whole, and when subtracting, we take the whole and we minus one of the parts. So with the adding, let's first start part. 10 plus 6 equals 16. Then for subtraction, we start with the whole, which is 16, minus, I'm going to minus the 6, equals 10. And then on greater than, less than, or equal to. So when we see our numbers, we have 14 and 41. Touch the tens. We have how many tens in 14? 1. And how many tens in 41? 4. Which is greater? The 41 is the bigger number. So the way we read this is 14 is less than 41. On the next one, touch the tens. There's 1 10 in 19, but there's 0 tens in 9. 19 and 9. Which one is the greater? 19, because it has 1 10. 9 has 0, so 0 is smaller than 1. The way we'll read this, 19 is greater than 9. And then moving on, 36 and 36. The tens are the same, and the ones are the same. So that means that they are equal. So the way we read it, 36 is equal to 36. On our next chart, we're going to put them in order. So like I said before, if you have to, use your 120 chart. So I'm going to circle mine. So I'm going to circle 7, 12, 5, and 11. And starting, I'm going to hit 5. And then what comes next? 7. Swiping around, and I hit 11. And then my last one right next to it is 12. Then we're going to move on to our clock. So we always start with the smaller hand first, and the smaller one is the hour. So with the hour, we're pointing at the 11. So in the hour spot, we're writing 11. And then the longer one is the minutes. And when the longer one points to the 12, what do we write? 00. And then the time says 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock. On our shapes, we have the bottom number telling us how many to cut it into, and the top number telling us how much to color in. So on the circle, we are going to cut it into 4 equal pieces, into fourths. And we're going to color 2/4 of the circle. So now we colored in 2/4 of the circle. On the rectangle, we're going to cut it into 2 equal halves, 2 halves. And we're going to color in 1 of those halves, 1/2 of it, 1 of the halves. So we colored in 1/2 of the rectangle. So here we are with our shapes data. And like I said, I like to always underline the tops and then put the amount of each. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We go across from our line, and I see right from the line over, and I'm at the 9. And then on my squares, I just can count right there or go across and see that it's on the 2. So I have 8 circles, 9 triangles, and 2 squares. So looking at our questions, we have how many more circles than squares? Before we begin, we always have to decide, are we adding or subtracting, and how do we know? So what are we doing here? Adding or subtracting? Adding, putting together, subtracting, taking away. So we are actually going to be subtracting. And which words are telling us that? More than. We are comparing to find the difference. So looking at our chart, when we subtract, we always start the larger number first. So which is larger? Let's see. We're looking at the circle and the squares. So we have 8 circles and 2 squares. So circle is larger. So I'm going to start with the 8 minus the 2. What is 8 minus 2? Solve. And the answer is 6. 6. Now moving on to the next one. Which has more, triangles or squares? So let's solve that first. Which has more, triangles or squares? So we have 9 triangles and we have 2 squares. So which is more? The 9 triangles. Now let's look at the equation. Let's look at the word problem and see what are we going to be doing. Are we adding or subtracting? Well, I see the words more, and the or is telling me that we are comparing them to find the difference. So we need to subtract. And being that we circled the bigger number already, we know we're going to start with the triangles. So let's look back at our chart if we forget. And we have 9 triangles. And we're going to minus the squares, which we have 2. So what is 9 minus 2? The answer is 7. 7. And on to our next chart. We have how many fewer circles than triangles? How many fewer circles than triangles? So what are we doing here? Are we adding or subtracting? And we are subtracting because of why? What's telling us that we are subtracting? Fewer than. That word than is telling us we are comparing and we need to find the difference. So we need to start with which is larger. Which is larger, the circles or the triangles? We have 8 circles and we have 9 triangles. So actually the 9 is the larger one. We're going to subtract the 9 triangles minus the 8 circles and solve. What is 9 minus 8? And the answer is 1. 1. On to the next question. It says, how many circles and squares? How many circles and squares? So what are we doing? Are we adding or subtracting? Are we putting them together or are we taking away to find the difference? And in my head, when I picture, I say I have a group of circles and I'm going to add a group of squares to those. So I'm combining those together. I'm going to put them together and use my plus because I see that and. We want to put them together. So that plus. So we go back to our chart to see how many circles we have. 8 circles. And how many squares we have? 2. So what is 8 plus 2? And the answer is 10. It's a 10 fact. And then on our last question for the math wall, it says how many in all on the chart? So that in all tells me we are going to add. So we're going to be adding all the numbers on the chart. So we need to add the 8 circles plus the 9 triangles plus the 2 squares. And another way you can always, when you're adding, you can move them around. And 8 plus 2 is that 10. Bring down everything else. And 10 plus 9 is 19. So 8 plus 9 plus 2 more equals 19 as well. It's just 2 different ways to get it. Thank you for tuning in for the Math Wall on Tuesday. See you tomorrow. Bye.